Earth's Most Alien Landscapes, a Myth versus Reality Expedition. We spend so much time looking up at the stars, wondering what alien worlds might look like. But what if I told you the most bizarre, cinematic environments imaginable are right here on our own planet? Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're embarking on a journey to explore Earth's most breathtaking spots. And we're going to use scientifically verified facts from trusted geology sources to separate local legends from some truly dramatic geological realities. So it really begs the question, what if Earth's most alien landscapes are literally right beneath our feet? Because as we'll see today, you absolutely do not need a spaceship to find impossible environments. The geology of our own planet is far more complex and bizarre than we usually give it credit for. All we have to do is peel back the layers, head out to some incredibly remote regions, and dig into the hard science behind the scenery. All right, let's dive into our first stop, the reef that vanishes. We're heading out to the vast open ocean, specifically Australia's Montgomery Reef. This place is incredibly isolated, sitting a good 1,200 miles from the nearest city, and it's a spot where the landscape itself seems to play tricks on your eyes. For generations, local legends talked about a vanished tribe of indigenous giants who just disappeared without a trace. It's an amazing story, right? But the actual scientific reality is honestly just as spectacular. We're talking about extreme tidal shifts that drastically alter the entire ecosystem in the blink of an eye. So while the myth spoke of a vanishing world, the science reveals a highly dynamic, constantly changing environment of pure geological power. The secret behind this massive illusion all comes down to a staggering time frame. Just 3 hours. Yep, for exactly 3 hours every single day, the open ocean drastically recedes. Literally millions of gallons of water just rush away, and this massive ghost reef suddenly appears completely out of nowhere, rising from the sea like some sort of forgotten continent. And then it disappears as quickly as it appears. It's a brilliant reminder of how nature's most dramatic illusions are usually what fuel our greatest myths. But hey, our planet's extremes aren't just hiding under the waves. Sometimes they are literally burning right on the surface. Which brings us to our next stop, the doorway to hell. Deep in the heart of Turkmenistan, you'll find the Darvaza gas crater. And guys, this fiery phenomenon looks exactly like something out of a dark fantasy novel or a massive cinematic blockbuster. I mean, looking at it, it is super easy to see why early explorers called this a literal gate to the underworld. It is terrifying. But the geological reality is equally wild. What you're actually looking at is a massive natural gas sinkhole that's just constantly seeping volatile gases right up from deep within the Earth's crust. And the craziest part, this isn't even some ancient phenomenon. A drilling collapse actually created this subterranean pocket back in 1971. That means this massive crater has been burning continuously, nonstop, for decades. It's a mesmerizing, relentless inferno, basically born from a crazy mix of human industrial error and explosive geology. So from burning sinkholes to mountains of blue fire, our planet's fiery extremes definitely take a lot of different forms. Let's pack up and travel from the desert all the way to Southeast Asia, where geology takes on an entirely different and, frankly, bizarre color. Next up, volcanoes of blue fire. Welcome to Kawah Ijen volcano in Indonesia. This is a place that totally defies visual logic. Usually when you picture an active volcano, you're thinking of red and orange magma, right? Well, Kawah Ijen flips that expectation completely on its head. Now, while those glowing blue flames might look absolutely magical, the underlying science reveals an incredibly harsh, dangerous environment. This is not just a pretty light show, folks. It is a highly acidic, profoundly toxic ecosystem that really pushes the extreme boundaries of where life and geology intersect. The science going on here is just fascinating. Basically, ignited sulfuric gases are what produce those eerie, otherworldly blue flames. And the whole thing sits right next to the largest highly acidic lake in the entire world. It's a stunning but completely deadly turquoise caldera. Moving on from toxic volcanic lakes, we have our next stop, Echoes in the Stone. We're heading over to Argentina to a place called the Cave of the Hands. This is an incredible spot where early humans interacted directly with the ancient geological formations around them, leaving a truly permanent mark on the landscape. The scale of time we're talking about here is just absolutely staggering. Ancient people painted these incredibly well-preserved handprints onto these rock walls roughly 9,000 years ago. 9,000. They actually used mineral pigments sourced directly from the Earth itself to create this lasting masterpiece. These pictographs aren't just local myths, they're verified historical facts that serve as a brilliant bridge between human history and the deep geological time of our planet. They aren't just art, they are literally ghostly echoes of our ancestors, preserved perfectly by the dry environment of the cave, reaching out to us across the millennia. Speaking of deep geological time, let's move on to our next topic, secrets beneath the Sahara. We're turning our attention to the vast, shifting sands of the Sahara Desert. As you probably know, today it is one of the most extreme, unforgiving environments on the surface of the globe. But what is hidden beneath those dunes is a dramatic, verifiable record of climate shifting. Thousands of years ago, way before it became this unforgiving barren desert, it was actually a lush, green environment teeming with life. The scientific data is crystal clear. The Sahara was not always the wasteland we see today. So it really makes you wonder, what else is hidden under the sands of the Sahara Desert? Because our planet is constantly in motion, it's constantly changing. The sheer scale of the unknown beneath our feet is massive. In fact, the only thing that really matches it is what's hidden beneath the crushing ocean waves. Which brings us perfectly to our final mystery today, the unexplored deep. We are plunging into an environment that is way deeper and way more complex than you probably think. People often say we actually know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the bottom of our own seas. And honestly, they're not wrong. So naturally, we have to talk about the Mariana Trench. Talk about an environment of ultimate geological extremes. This trench holds the record for the absolute deepest, scientifically verified point in all the world's oceans, plunging way down into a dark abyss where the pressure is just unimaginable. And even though we've started mapping these abysses, these crushing black depths still remain one of the absolute least explored frontiers on Earth. What we do know is that they host completely bizarre ecosystems, creatures that survive totally without sunlight, feeding off chemical vents shooting up from the Earth's crust. So, I want to leave you with this. If our planet already contains vanishing ghost reefs, volcanoes that spew blue fire, literal gateways to hell, and ancient handprints reaching out from deep time, with so much of our deep ocean and subterranean world still totally unexplored, what impossible place will we discover next? Keep seeking out the facts and never, ever lose your curiosity. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.